Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
As I always said, Earth is a nursery where it creates that seed, that bulb, and it takes you buy it, and then you plant it, you water it, and then it gives you that flower. I was in Amsterdam this few days for work of the Keshe Foundation, and I love Amsterdam because it doesn't matter, whenever you pass through the airport, they have tulips. And people from all over the world going through Amsterdam buy these onions or the tulips to take it to their nation, or to their country, or to their home, doesn't matter. And Earth is that flower shop. Is that nursery where the flower shop gets its flowers and its onions. It's a seed where it plants the seed of the soul of the man, which needs that little ignition to start a cycle. As I said in the past, to get to feel the strength to come together in a space takes billions of years, and especially for them to become a plasma, where now the soul of the man, through the life of the man, 50, 60, 100 years on this planet, creates that seed. Now you just need to let it loose, and then those fields in the universe which were coming to become the seed of the something to start, already have the onions, or what we call the seed of the soul, for it to grow. If you go to Scotland, they do what we call shrimp sit, 1 day shrimp or 3 day shrimp. The people who are in the shrimp world, they go to Scotland and they buy 1 day old shrimp, and they take it to Africa and then they let it grow. Where in Africa, for them to grow that, there is no facilities. So it's the same. The universe has the earth as the seed for that to be faster to create the next generation. You have to understand the light of, the knowledge of, the essence of the creation of the Creator is so fast, and is so fast in its vastness that it needs it to find a point of control. amalgamation, and creation. And the soul of man is that greenhouse. Sometimes when I hear the scientists talk about the greenhouse effect and the earth is getting hotter or whatever, I laugh. I said, God created this greenhouse to create the soul of the man. What the hell are these people talking about? So this is why when you build a greenhouse, when you put the flowers and the plants in it, you go and check to see how beautiful they are, how they are growing. If there is any infection, if there is any diseases, you correct it. And this greenhouse called Earth gets visited by the Creator to see what it needs to be done, how it needs to be corrected, how you get the disease of killing and everything else out of the man. And then he sends what we call the gardeners, the teachers, to polish it, to perfect it, that goes out as a perfect seed. And that's our job. So the earth is that nursery. And the Creator loves this nursery because it was created by Mitra. And is looked after by his love and needed to be corrected and be perfected. Now reaches that point which reflects his true essence of love. When you buy a flower from a florist, you will feed two things. If he sells you a flower he bought from a market, a plant, he just gives it to you. But if it's a plant which he grew and he sells it to you, he gives you love, information, and love about that because it's part of him. So it's the same with the man. The soul created on this planet is done, touched by the love of Mitra, and God has handed it. And he has to be perfect. So when it goes out in the universe, it becomes a perfect tulips. And one lip of Creator and one lip of Mitra. When they kiss, it creates a new life. Good morning.
Whoops, I'm sorry. I just realized my microphone wasn't on as I was eloquently introducing you. We have a bit of an echo there. I think it's okay now. Let me just redo the entry there because I didn't get it for just for Vimeo and not for the rest of the world. Welcome everyone to the 530th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 21st, 2024. This is the presentation of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in this weekly series of workshops that's been ongoing for over 10 years. And I mentioned it was the spring equinox today, as well as I believe it's the beginning of the Iranian New Year. And on top of that, it's been a big week for the Keshe Foundation in Sanya, China, which we see in our background image for today's workshop. Okay, well, now I think we're situated now. Could you please go ahead, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back to the beautiful city of Sanya and the most beautiful coastlines in the world. The teaching of today bears with us the continuation of what we talked about in the past weeks and how and the way in cosmic rays will affect us. What is the cosmic ray? The field of the plasma, which different tentacles of it reaches us according to the strength which manifests itself or can spread out to be and to be part of. What we see, as we always explain, is a small part of the totality. And in a way, it's what we call this, the dimension and diversion in plasma. In our, what we call teachings, in our works, we always look, we always produce magnetic fields which are in a way part of the structure of the mixture of elements. And so we only see one shape, one magnetic field strength. We see one structure, and this bring forward.
Sorry, Mr. Keshe, are you drawing right now? Because we were only seeing a blank screen.
I cannot get a whiteboard to come on. This is a problem with this new board. I'm trying, it just asked me for a new board. I asked for a new whiteboard and it just goes. It does not allow me open board. Yep, we're coming into it.
There we go.
Do you see it now?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm trying to see where the things are. It's changed again. Okay. We have a pen. We have no, what do you call it? It's very strange. We are back on these people, everybody being everywhere. I don't know how to do this, Rick. Raphael is there, everyone is there. Anyway, we go back to it. Yeah. I have a pen I don't get the control of the board to change things.
Maybe if you hit the annotate button.
I don't annotate anymore. I don't have it. I think I have to.
I have one on my screen.
Yeah, because you're not controlling the board. Let's try it again. We go up. We go public teaching. Public teaching progress KF SSI. What are we? I wish I could remember what I was doing with this thing. No, we don't want you to access it. Collaborating, presenting. Okay, let's see how it. I have a small problem with it. Just wait.
If you want,
Okay.
I could create a whiteboard and you could annotate
it.
Okay.
It's swinging. It's swinging. Okay. Sorry about this. But it doesn't allow me to use the pen. The pen has disappeared now.
Can you?
I could write before, but I cannot write now.
It looks different somehow. I had the annotate thing beside it before. Now it's not there. Can you draw with your finger on it? Is it because your pen is? Yeah, we see that.
You see that? Okay. Now I see what it goes on. Oh my God.
Isn't technology fun?
Yeah. Can you imagine we could just do it without talking about it? It would be easier. Just think and write.
Yeah, just instant images directed right into our brain. Okay, that's nice. We see that.
Yeah. And this is, we usually define the plasma this way. But in reality, when we look at a plasma, we see a spectrum of the strength. Oh, I remember what the problem is with this pen. This pen has become directional recently. That's why. And then if we go the same way, if you see it, I hope that become Picasso will be bankrupt. Forget about it. How it will come. If you put an eye here, this eye, this point of observation, only sees the magnetic field in the strength of the green light. It cannot see the magnetic field in the strength of the other light. Where the eye here only sees the strength of the red. And the same way, the black sees the strength of the black. And part of what we as human always considered, that we see the whole universe, we look at our telescopes, we look at our naked eyes in the sky, and we see everything. Well, in fact, our eyes are trained, our sense of observation of the vision are trained in a mono-energetic band of a position of the magnetic field strength. And this is what, by us becoming man of space, will become one of our biggest concerns and problems. Because we observe the structure according to the field strength of what we call magnetic field strength of our own vision material, which is primarily, as Mr. Cohen, magnetic field strength. If in one point or another we change, we cannot change these primarily as are universally on Earth. If on Earth we change our nitrogen to, let's say, calcium or potassium, we will see maybe on a field strength very much, let's say, at this strength. I have to change it because I'm sure you will not be able to see it. Okay, we go to the blue. Create a field at the strength of the blue. Then I cannot see what's on the strength of the green. And I'm totally blind to the strength of the black or the red. But once we start traveling at the speed of magnetic fields, and our soul becomes in a dimension opening up to different strengths, like this, or this, or this one, then our vision sees different. The stars, the galaxies which are visible to us now, they don't exist. We can't observe them, but they exist in the totality of the magnetic field of the universe. So man in space become aware that his vision dictates the strength of the magnetic field of his amino acid. The structure of his life depends what it can see. And you come to understand very, very fast that now that we're becoming passenger of the universe, and we travel in the dimension of the central field of our existence, what we call the soul, with different magnetic field strength of it, different dimension of the creation in the universe will become manifested to us. And this will create another major problem for men who only see through their eyes. What they see, they believe. Now the eye cannot see. Eye has to rely on the emotion, on the confirmation of the existence of whatever it is through its soul. In the coming time, we will start developing systems created through dimension of the what we call combination of magnetic field strength of the cosmic rays, systems that allows man at least to say one or two dimensions, that he has the ability to recognize where, for example, with the blue line today, he will see 1/3 of the physicality of what is in the universe. But if you add, the one on the green line could be 1/20th, and the red will show 1/5 of, and the black most probably shows 1/30th. So we change our speed. We have different emotion of the strength of the wind which we travel in, or the wind we displace. In the dimension of the universal transmutation, the speed that you travel dictates in a way by the magnetic field the strength of your own amino acid, and then this dictates in the speed category of whatever you put it down, what will be visible to you, because the interaction of the fields of your amino acid dictates the visibility of what you see and what you don't see, what will come and stays in your what we call blind spot. So it'll be interesting how you as knowledge circles, when you be going back as a knowledge, you can go around the universe, even traveling from one place to another on the earth. One travels with the speed of the green, one travels with the speed of black, one travels with the speed of the red. Each one of you will only see what is in the magnetic field spectrum of your amino acids, and in a way, dimension of creation of you. Therefore, do not be surprised that when man becomes a passenger of universe, he has to decide from the outset what magnetic field strength he wants to travel in and to be within. If your very high speed created you to high magnetic field strength, you see different things than the one which travels in lower magnetic speed of magnetic fields and lower field strength. So many of you have to open your eyes to this fundamental point, because if you don't understand, your eyes can play with you, your eyes can fool you. And try this, try the production of these kind of systems, different magnetic fields, and see what you can observe. Or are the images missing from the screen, or are they in it the wrong way? Therefore, when we travel with a spectrum of magnetic fields strength, we will see different stars in the sky. We will see different dimensions in the sky. Everything is not so sharp. Everything magnetic field strength dependent. And then you will understand what you see as the being, as creatures in the line of the blue line and in the line of the red one is totally different. And you decide in what you want to observe and absorb. This is the beauty of the new knowledge. You have to understand it. We create the speed not out of rockets, but out of magnetic field strength. And we have to understand in the process of travel in this dimension, you have and you become across different entities occupying the same space and time space. I've seen in past few weeks people getting agitated and they talk how they talk and what suits them, but in fact will understand that what is written by pen of the Creator will stay the power of the man. The limitation of is extending it beyond the time, place and position. In the coming times, we'll introduce you to what we call the space glassware, where you can see what magnetic field strengths are available and where they are and how you can use it. A few knowledge seekers already use method like this. Knowledge seekers developed, tried to, but they never understood the concept. And we saw them after 3 months. Hackling, trying to understand, then nothing happens. But we change the fields within the system, remote, and suddenly new life appears in front of your eyes. And this is what you will face with the highest speed travel if you choose the physicality or you choose the soul and you let it grow to what it should be, and then you will see what comes out, what it'll be, what it will deliver. In the systems which we bring out in the coming time, very much like the glasses, when you put them on, according how you adjust the strength of the magnetic field of the glass, decides what you see in the universe, what you see in your environment. It's not a difficult thing to make, but providing that such a system will bring addition to the present space technology, that's another point. We have to be able to deliver systems that can bring the changes in the structure of the magnetic field strength that with it, within it, allows the development of a new system. New vision system, new system that we see the entity, we see the universe through the plasmatic magnetic fields and not through the eye of the man. And the eye of the man is just controller of the physical dimension. Looking left, looking right, up, down. The preset to this was when we showed systems can run on their own. And when we saw the lady, became apparent that this has a new dimension, this has a new understanding, and this needs to be developed in a way that we all see the same vision, the same light, the same magnetic field, the strength of the material at the same time, but we are aware of the other dimensions. In the blue line, we might see emptiness. In the green line, we might see material condition, which in the blue line we haven't seen, but now we feel the energy. And by changing the magnetic field of the glass, by changing gravitational field, the strength of the glass, by changing dimension of the what we call material condition fields, we can dictate, we can understand, and we can progress to the next level for a space technology. Why we need to understand? Why we bring condition of the effect of the magnetic field strength to confirm the vision, what we see for detection or whatever. Now, nothing can be seen except what is in the new dimension. And this will change a lot of things for many people. You can like a black, then sit down and make a black clothing, but when you want to use it, they say, oh no, you can't use a cigar, but you can wear it. You don't wear a black, it has to be too gray. And then we've seen sewing it together becoming black. And then we see how we can change dimensions by, we can change observation by simply changing the strength of the magnetic field of a glass, and not necessarily the eye of the man. But in that process, man still will have limitation of the magnetic field of the earth and what he or she can see. In the future, when we progress in understanding of the space technology, we will understand that the vision is not the sight, but the emotion, the magnetic field strength, the speed of the field will give you every information you need to become passenger of the universe, to become travelers in different countries. So, gaining the knowledge of space is not the responsibility of the man. And this will come to be one of the cornerstones of man, recognizing objects, entities, lives in the space, in the deeper space. You stand in the empty space in the red color, you change it to gray color, is mayhem of lives moving everywhere. And you're sitting in a traffic jam, which in the strength of the first original leg, magnetic field strength, has no dimension of physicality. This will become part of the work in the next few months, in the next few sessions of the Keshe Foundation. That to produce systems that makes the skies, the depth of the universe fully visible. And it's not just we see what we see. I gave an example of this before in some of the teaching, where, for example, we have the clouds. We see the clouds because their magnetic field strength is that the strength of our vision. But when, I always refer to, when NASA took picture of the space from top bomb, at the bottom we see the man, but on the top we see creatures moving with intelligence, because they have replicated many of themselves, but we don't see them. We have looked from time of Galilei to today, we never knew they exist. And by refraction and deviation in the light in space, accidentally we have to come to understand there are lives above us. But if man develop systems that can see in their magnetic field strength, we will see we are bottom meters of them above, living, and whatever they want, whatever they don't want, handed down, and we are happy to it. We breathe it, we drink it. So, in the coming time, as we don't see these creatures, we have not managed to see them for hundreds of years. We've been looking out. Now that we're looking down in different magnetic field strengths, we see them. That'll be the job of the man, to see how densely this atmosphere of the earth is populated and polluted, and lives live within it. And if we go to this process, if you understand the process of creation of variation of magnetic field strength, leading to observation and confirmation of new lives, our skies are not black. Our skies are teeming with life. But we have chosen not to see. This has brought us just not to want to accept, but in most of the work of the Creator, man, this has been only discernment. If we manage to create a spectrum of the fields, magnetic field strength, then we'll be able to observe everything which happens around us by just switching from given the strength to another strength, and to how much it will feel to be part of it, because of not be ignored, to be part of it. Creation, maintaining, and dimension and control of the magnetic field will become one of the cornerstones of the man's wisdom. As we said, it will not be long that man will go through this phase. Man has no option, as I always say, because we have opened the doors of the knowledge. And we have to live with it. We have no choice but to live with it. But we have to understand it, that we can accept it. We have to understand it, that we can analyze it and develop ways, not necessarily systems or machinery, ways that our soul can adjust to it, that does not need equipment, but it recognizes according to its own strength what it sees, what it's got to do with it. And maybe one day, through the, what I call, strength of the eye of the man, man, instead of taking the images of the space, will print the image of space to say what it sees. What I'm observing, that with the naked eye of the man on this planet cannot be seen. Then new cycle of technology and knowledge will start, which will change the present understanding of the space technology the way we are. Vision, observation of the environment will come through the field strength feeling, and not by vision to see the sight. As I said many times in past months, we have moved away from the magravs, electricity and the saving, into the energy which the magnetic fields of these units, these entities will deliver for us, to us, and allows us to enjoy new dimension in science and technology. So, next step for us will be, in a way, to open a spectrum of vision, lights, confirmation of existence that all of us can enjoy. And not to be blinded to one shining star, and we call it, it takes so many millions light years to arrive on Earth, and in the way we bring our ignorance of our own knowledge to understanding of our own joy of being able to see more of, and to enjoy to see what we have missed, or what we can create to enjoy that we do not miss. The dimension, variation in the magnetic fields of the vision of the man then has to follow with the magnetic fields of the hearing, then understanding and detection through the field of the emotion of the physicality of the man. And these all needs to be trained. You need to see who's standing in front of you when you land on the moon. As I said to the army people, we have developed a system that with one switch is visible, and in one switch is invisible, even though it's in front of you. Then you have to understand how many beings have been in front of you and they've been on invisible switch, because you don't have the magnetic field, the strength of it, to be able to observe their existence. A man has to become knowledgeable into understanding the spectrum of the fields, which gives him vision, sound, emotion of the environment, that he can survive anywhere in the universe. One day, in the near future, we go to that phase. We are about to, as I said, developing what we call non-tangible space systems, which means there are no reactors, but create condition. And in that process, we will create magnetic fields that while these reactors are operating, creating dimension of vision that continuously every man can see a spectrum of the lights and not just one mono energetic, which we call the white light, which is the beginning of and the rest. So next time you come to look at the plasma, understand all that single line of what I call the spiral was one magnetic field strength that you can see. Now you have to understand you're observing many, many, many. And how you use this for the knowledge of the space travel, and how you use some of these lines to travel with into the depth of space by converting and using your sight to be the vehicle for the transportation and transmutation of the body of man. What you see, you can do. What you don't see, you cannot. And now you have to see, to be able to see, that there is nothing that you cannot do. We go for a break, we come back, and we have a short day-to-day teaching and answer some questions, and let's see what comes up. I hope you understood this, because if you haven't, you're going to be a big problem if you become passenger of the universe. Break. Take us for a break and we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Just get my sharing together here, just a minute. There we go. Okay, we'll take a few minutes off here and be back shortly. This is the 530th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 21st, 2024.
Rick, we have no noise on Zoom.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I think I'll keep the intermission to a short one today, in interest of keeping our broadcast shorter. So are you ready, Mr. Keshe? Is that okay? Or shall we, do you need more of a break?
No problem, no problem.
Okay. And would you like to launch into questions, or do you have a few things to say first, perhaps?
Yes, first of all, a Happy New Year to not only the Iranians, the Chinese, what do you call it, the Japanese, the Kazakhs, the Uzbeks, the Silk Road belt of knowledge seekers, but to all of us that this celebration is for all of us. It's the beginning of the spring for all of us who are in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's not a national holiday, but we celebrate on behalf of all of you. But it's celebration of New Year, and I hope it will be a wonderful new year for all of us as knowledge seekers. And I hope one day we become mature enough to celebrate the new year for our universe and the new year for our Unicast celebration. But that takes time. Man has still got problems with what he has. And in general, I hope what I call scientists and leaders become mature enough to understand and bring what we call unity, not just by name of nations, but by as a human, as one race nation. If there are any questions, we are prepared to answer, and let's see where we go.
Okay, thank you. People are interested, of course, in the conference in Sanya, but Doug has a particular question in the Q&A here. Did the knowledge seekers in Sanya feel the intentions coming from the Brazilian meetings held at the same time as the conference?
You should ask them. I cannot tell you. We were busy. It was one of the very nice conferences, very unusual. As one of the what we call dignitaries said, I've never been to a conference like this, where there is no program and it's 4 days and everybody is literally part of the conference. And we had a beautiful session, especially after the 3rd day and the 4th day, where knowledge seekers in groups of 10 every hour would go into what we call it the plasma room and test and try every way possible to test themselves, how they can elevate themselves or what they feel. And I know a number of people have had what we call touchy emotional. Some people have already seen physical changes in their what we call physical life, and there are many things. We watched how in a way unique materials were created. We watched how unique emotion was created. We observed how some can have a physical feeling from the interaction of the emotions through the system. And it's just very generally interesting, but you have to ask them. You have to ask them. Because was your support brought a what we call elevation of the soul that we always started at higher to understand more. It has been one of the most successful conferences Keshe Foundation ever held in many ways. Many ways. Primarily, it brought in knowledge seekers China back together again. It created a condition there to put a new, what we call, blood into knowledge seekers of China to be part of, to be in it. It has brought military and officials that, as you know, if you've spoken to knowledge seekers present, some of the most elite scientists, academicians of the nation were present, and they said the whole time, people from the armed forces of China were present. And this was the show of knowledge and technology. As I said in the conference, uniform officers, military officers of Chinese forces cannot appear in conferences like this, when especially there are tens of foreigners. It's against the law of the military. But they stayed with us 2-3 days, and they listened and understood what the change is, and at the same time it brought what we wanted, which was mainly to bring the knowledge seekers together. In a way, from Chinese knowledge seekers have all been isolated, maybe 1 or 2 ever came into conferences, a very few handful of, but now it was literally one big family. And it was nice to see how even the language barrier, they sit amongst each other, there was no problem. And they understand the knowledge, and that was the main thing. And you carried the spirit of the soul of the Keshe Foundation, understanding that knowledge is more important than color, race, and religion. It was well organized. I thank to the new head of the Keshe Foundation for China, organizing such a flawless presentation, absolutely flawless, and it shows his strength, his what we call confidence in holding it. And I'm sure this will show in the future works of the Keshe Foundation with the new head of the Keshe Foundation for operating in China. In coming time, we will announce, and you'll know as Knowledge Kids start setting things up, that how the new systems which has been brought to China will bring new dimensions for all the wellness and the rest. I'm sure your praise and your supporting us has a reason, part of why it was so successful. It's been one of the most successful Keshe Foundation conferences I have attended. I've attended in a few of them up to now, but generally speaking, extremely well organized, extremely what I call precision. Every hour in the second day and the third day, 10 people moved into the plasma room and 10 people came back in. But one thing is strange is the one which went out never came back in. We don't know whether they were transmuted, but they appeared somewhere later on in. And it was interesting how people come back from the plasma room and how some of them get touched by so they feel. And some of them tell you, I didn't feel anything. It was just in, but later on they tell you or write to you, they later, whatever, that this thing and that thing has changed in me. So what they could not feel inside, later on they've seen the physical dimension. And so in a way, for the first time, we brought in the what we call transmutation system into operation. And a number of people sat in it, a number of people tested it. And it's amazing somehow people feel going through that transmutation. And very interesting what we hear. Some people say nothing happened, but later on it did happen because they felt it physically because of what they did. And the journey was a successful meeting, a successful presentation. Our next meeting will be in the beautiful city of Isfahan, the old capital of the what we call the Persian Empire. And it will be fantastic. What we have already, as of today, started the work, preparing systems, testing systems, and understanding the boundary, ready for Isfahan meeting. In Isfahan, for sure, 100% sure, we will not start Isfahan conference without it, and we will show the first transportation, transmutation systems ever seen by man. The Iran conference will be a double conference. The conference we finished in China was a triple conference. Manchester, London, Sanya. The second package of the conference is the beautiful city of Isfahan, where we will show the true transportation, new technology and science. And we try to even show you, if we can, a flying car. What you'll be dreaming. We will show new breakthrough in technologies, which we could not even talk about it in Sanya, which we closed. And then we move into Washington. In Washington, we bring the position of no borders. In the conference we announced, if the governments do not make effort to bring world peace by 21st of March 2027, the technologies in the hand of the government will be released in the hand of people. You will be able to transmute, the technology will be taught. You'll be able to create energies which brings down the limitation of the energy. The food supply will become part of the technology of the Keshe Foundation delivered in 2027. What we ask is for the governments to come together to start the process of world peace. That if not, as you've seen we did with releasing the patents, the blueprint of the Magra, which most of you never understood, to release the technology to start the process of world peace. where every man can produce as much gold, every man can produce as much food, every man can produce as much as he needs to survive, irrespective of the time, place, and position on Earth, on the Moon, or anywhere else in the universe. The systems to guarantee this process has already this morning has gone into motion. We are preparing to show the transmutation and transportation in Iran. Once we come to an agreement with the Iranian military, especially military and Iranian government, the Isfahan presentation will be a magic show, very much where the man for the first time saw the light in Chicago Fair, in the Keshe Foundation Isfahan conference, will bring a new dimension to space technology. As I said, in the second day of the conference, the first day of the conference, we brought all the technologies balances together. And in the second day, we introduced the new space fuel, which is a plasmatic condition of cosmic rays. The system was brought into the auditorium and was shown and delivered. And now we are in the second phase. Now we deliver systems for it, and Isfahan will be a magic show for those who love to understand the space technology. We are not showing you a UFO, that's too old, that belongs to the aliens. And if the man wants to have an alien technology, you're quite welcome. But we will show you systems that bring transmutation and transportation together. As I said, the knowledge seekers are on the run to find out how, and in Isfahan we will show. And we announce in a short time, very soon, the entry, the registration for Tehran conference and the Washington conference. And it'll be very interesting. In the phase of the Iran conference, we will invite the world leaders through the officers and military of Iran to see the change. And then we take this to Washington in a way to bring an end to a lot of things and beginning of the new things. But we show to some very few people new materials, new technologies which has been developed and delivered. And those who saw it, those who felt it, they understood the change. And soon, the next few months, we will see. Any other question? Let me tell you something. The Isfahan conference will be very limited to very few people from outside. Those of you who are from outside, once we announce it, you want to be in it, you'll have a few hours to complete and we close. Isfahan presentation is for, the way it was for Chinese, it will be first of all for Iranian knowledge seekers and Iranian scientists and world military and space. We will present Chinese, what we call the Isfahan conference, with the president of Chinese military and some part of the leadership. So it will be a combined combination of the things, and then majority of the seats will be given to the Iranian scientists and knowledge seekers. It'll be on the same basis, no different. And as you've seen the pictures, most probably of you as knowledge seekers of the conference, it was held in one of the most prestigious hotels on the island in the city of Sanya. Amazing place, well orchestrated, well kept. And I think the knowledge seekers hardly had any sleep because they attended the conference during the day and they went eating and whatever they did till early hours of morning. And it became actually bringing many knowledge seekers of different nations, nationalities together to enjoy the time and the place. But when you come to Iran, you understand the love of hospitality and how it means to come home, where the humanity started from. And now we start from the same place, the new culture, and a new way man to go to space. And I thank those who facilitated that we could celebrate the Iranian New Year together with the celebration of vaccine in the conference the last day. But be prepared. Once we announce this Mehran presentation, will be one of the biggest magics ever man has seen in the world of the science. But this is reality, it's not magic. We're given the world governments 3 years from 21st of March, which is today, to find a way to sign a peace contract and bring world to peace. Otherwise, we'll bring new dimensions. And we have shown in the conference the production of gold, unlimited. We finish with the old, which was gold, and we start anew, which is cosmic rays and understanding of the travel and depth of the space with the energy of the universe, but not burning fuels and killing others. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have a couple of hands up here. Dean, would you like to go first? And then we have Salamia.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for a very, very incredibly beautiful conference. Can I ask a question about...
How do you know you didn't attend? How do you know?
I didn't attend, no, Mr. Keshe. No, I didn't know. Did you manage to collect, Mr. Keshe, or receive all the informations of the souls that went into the system? Did you get all the information you required?
We will get it, don't worry. We let it go. We picked the ones we want. We observed the ones that we want. And it's very interesting. The data we'll analyze later on because it's done, it's recorded, hopefully. And if it's not done, we've seen what we wanted to see. It's amazing when knowledge seekers change, the weight of the systems changes too. By variation of U lot going in and out, it creates a different weight measure. We observed it a few times and the thing was closed afterwards. So if we can change the weight of the system by just bringing people walking on Earth, not touching the system, so it means you are interacting with systems. We watched on monitors, on our oscilloscopes, how you people change the fields, how souls moved. It was very interesting. But the most important thing is how many of you took the experience of going into the plasma room or in the other room, being able to use the 5 systems which were put on the table, initially 4. And somebody actually, 3 of the systems were a normal system, communication system, and 2 of them were wellness systems. And somebody in the conference says, this happened to me regarding my condition. And so we knew the guy has been on the wellness system. He hit the jackpot and he saw the result. And now with the new technology coming up, these wellness systems will be amazing. The new materials we're producing is amazing. I tested one on one of the knowledge seekers last night, and it was beautiful to see. Materials which we never brought out. Yes, we'll see how it come up, and we'll tell you when it comes.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Can I ask a question about?
Are you on the beaches still?
Yeah, I'm actually on the balcony overlooking the sea with a couple of very wonderful knowledge seekers. I know many knowledge seekers all around us that have spent some wonderful times together, and I'd like to thank the Chinese community for a most incredible, warm, really beautiful, warm people, and they welcomed us and they gave us the most incredible conference, and it was a pleasure to be in their company. May I ask a question, Mr. Keshe? One last question would be, I noticed
I think most of your knowledge seekers had a problem by the Americans and the Chinese to get into China, non-Chinese. But once you got in, it was worth it.
Yeah, it was a tough journey, that's for sure.
One of the knowledge seekers was on the way for 4 days to get to China. He wouldn't give up. He went from one airline to another to get in. And some people had to just go back home and come out again. And it was very interesting how knowledge seekers were so resilient and they managed to get themselves in.
I think I could reach out and touch him in physicality, Mr. Keshe, right now. He's very close. So, Mr. Keshe, I noticed, or it was spoken about, that some people seem to have a definite glow behind their eyes, a difference in their eye structure. Would this be so?
What are you talking about now?
It was mentioned by a couple of knowledge seekers that a brightness in the eyes. Something's changed, and they were just asking some questions about this.
Oh, we have a knowledge seeker who says his eye has changed and he was this and that. And we had this with a couple of people because their fields are at the, what the strengths are that they could interact with. But I can't tell you any more than that because I know one knowledge seeker was persisting that he's received very dark eyes around or marks around his eyes, when he went into the system. We saw people physically. We saw first time people was shaking in Manchester, but we saw when our system again 2 or 3 people who were physically touched in the process of the going into the plasma room.
It was mentioned, Mr. Keshe, about I saw one of the knowledge seekers, and when it was spoken about, I actually looked into his eyes. And he did look like his eyes were very, very shiny. That was my real question.
Don't know. I didn't look at the knowledge because I'm getting blind. I don't see that good. Yeah. So I'm getting blind with the knowledge. So it's I don't know. It all depends.
I'd just like to say, Mr. Keshe, to you as well, is thank you very much for that knowledge. There was a lot of very incredible knowledge that was shared, and I do thank you for that. That was, it was a special time. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. We didn't let anybody to record anything in the meeting, in the conference. And this is primarily none of the Keshe Foundation conferences are recorded. It's the knowledge given, and the knowledge is there to reach others through the soul and elevation of the whole knowledge by whole humanity and beyond. But it was generally a good meeting. It going generally, now it's the first time in Manchester and in London, you just had a headset. As we promised, we created a room environment, I don't know, 6 meters by 10 meters or 10 meters by 10 meters, where people could walk in. It was very funny. One of the knowledge seekers was standing outside the room and was like, you see the ones that go to the wall in Jerusalem and then bang their heads? She had her hands open saying, oh, then they said, we haven't opened another wall here yet. in many knowledge seekers, when they go in, they feel the field. And it's very, very interesting how we
I think.
create an environment of the spaceship. Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say that I know that when the people are around the this room from the outside, many people were feeling the energies from outside, you know, from the other side of the wall, and were experiencing it and holding their hands out and feeling the energies that were, you know, that were behind this in the room itself. And then once people went in, they obviously experienced it as well. But you could definitely feel it as you were present outside of the room.
A strange thing is that many people, when they went in, they fell asleep. They found peace. There were people lying on the floor, people sitting on chairs and with their legs in. One was, I thought she's gonna, what they call it, take off, like a, what do you call it, Buddha pictures. We promise we create an environment and to see how you react, and we delivered what we promised. It wasn't just headset, it was a full system. It cost a lot of effort by the Keshe Foundation team, especially by those who bring these things and set it out to create this condition. And as you've seen, it was system in the center and system around to enforce the dimension. We kept what we call a star formation with number of systems, very powerful systems. And we brought in other system in the background to do, and some systems connected to the observation point of the weight or whatever, and some were observation of the, what we call the field, the material, creation of materials. But as we said, we kept Manchester and London, you had so the what we call communication bundles, and you use the what we call the obeisons pre-rolled to them, and we promised in Beijing will deliver the environment of the plasma, and many of you were touched by it. And in Iran we delivered the flying system, and that will bring a new dimension to space technology.
I think, Mr. Keshe, many of the knowledge seekers are definitely looking forward to around that. That is for sure. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful conference, the same as China. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. I will let someone else know. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, Salamia, would you like to go next?
Yes, first of all, happy Nowruz, New Year, I mean, to all the planet, and especially for those who work for peace. And now my question for Mr. Keshe. In order to get sustainable peace on this earth, Baha'u'llah envisaged World Federation. What do you think about actual situation on this direction of the international politics? And what are the perspective of international system to get unified into World Federation, taking into account all these conflicts and troubles made by big powers in politics? Thank you.
Can you explain what you're talking?
Yes, I will try to ask you if federation, this political entity, it's enough to get sustainable peace on the international level? And if not,
We
what?
don't have a federation, and I don't know what federation you're talking about, but primarily life on this planet will change through everything that we have done and the others do for it.
Baha'u'llah said that a war federation will solve the problems, and we have to find only spiritual solutions. And federation is a political solution, but maybe we need a spiritual federation. This was my question. Of course, we don't have yet, but how we can help as a foundation to get new solutions, to get sustainable peace on the earth, which is our aim as a as a foundation, I mean.
First of all, I don't believe in federation, and it's a nonsense. Secondly, we come to a point that individual life sustainability, which means I can sustain my life the way I want. Nobody can value it, but I serve that. In that serving, I do it out of pleasure. At the moment we become like what they call donkeys and dogs in the circus. We perform something, we run around the circus ring, we come back, they give us a sugar lump. We call it wages. That just we can afford to survive till the next sugar lump that we get. Life should not be dependent on a sugar lump or a carrot that every time you do a monkey work done. Life has to be on the process of sustainability. I do to serve, to do because I enjoy doing it. Because I have the food, I need the energy I have, I need the medicine I have, I want to travel, I have the ability of it, and I don't need to pay no one for it. That then brings a different dimension that everybody becomes to serve, to be to be part of, that be proud that I do something good. I don't get paid to work. I work to pay the others, to serve the others with my work. And this game of nationalism, wageism, that you have to get wages to survive, you have to, whatever has to come to an end. The life of a man starts from, let's say, when he opens his eyes till he closes his eyes. And what is the difference between the cleaner and the doctor? That somebody reading some books, whatever, has to be paid more for the same time of life reading and being part of this society. We have created this fallacy, and again goes with those who want to abuse it, create federations and the rest of it. To me, when I used to run my business, end of each year, I used to give bonuses to staff. The manager, CEOs, the cleaner, the doorman, the drivers, all got the same amount. And sometimes the ones who were lower got more than the ones who were higher. And not the only one occasions, few occasions, the high-ranking guys, managers or CEOs, whatever, came to complaining, we got a problem in the management team. They're being given the same bonuses as the cleaners, and if this doesn't work, it's not good. I said, do you know what's not good? If that guy is not there to clean your room, you're coming to live in there. pile of heap of rubbish. His work is more than you because you can't do your work if he wasn't there. But he can do his work anywhere without you. So when we value life for life and not to paperwork and reading something, in having a name and a title, to that time the abuse will be there and federation has to be created because we plan it and we so work to get it. When we go to work and we do something to help the others, to what we call evolve the life of the man to a higher order that is not dependent on somebody else doing something for me that I have to have, then we have changed. Then the man will reach peace. At the beginning, when we get to this stage, there'll be a lot of greed. People who didn't want to have everything, but at the end they get satisfied. There is no, everybody has the same thing. This is not communism. This is equalitism. You become equal. We breathe the same air. We drink the same raindrop as water. We share the body of this planet. Why should be one man higher than the other? Except when the man serves. And that has to be at the level of the soul of the man. Not in a visible way, oh look, I'm cleaning, I'm serving you. This is not, this has to be of life. This is, if you, even those of you who were in the conference, any of the past 3 conferences of this cycle, I don't sit back, I don't stay in the back just because I might know a little bit more than the others. I take the microphone around people who's there. Yesterday serving sweets for the Iranian New Year when he was there. Because we're all equal. And when man comes to that point, then humanity has become peaceful. We need no federation and no generation of federation. This is abuse set by Baha'u'llah and has to stop. He set the scene of future abuse and doesn't work. As it is writing, he favors kingship. Who says one is more than the other? So the teaching of Baha'u'llah is so wrong that is fundamentally, that's why it hasn't succeeded in 150, 60 years. Separation and somebody being higher than the work in the Baha'i faith, most of it is wrong. And that's why they haven't managed to do some. There fundamentally is equality in the race of the man. And cannot. Encouraging somebody to become favoring kingship, federation, and these things are the job of the old system. The way that we could rule, they could run. The way it should be is all man. Doesn't matter on earth or outside, or all creatures of God are equal. Does not mean the cat, the dog, and the ants. It means what we call aliens. Respect and honor is different thing than leadership and kingship. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Okay, question from Freed in the YouTube. Is gazing an opening to these new, to this new vision, to new vision or audio fields? He defines gazing as trying to not focus directly, but to expand the perception, to be receptive to wider observation.
What does that mean? Can you explain?
Well, I think it's if you're sitting, and some people meditate or just sit, and the choice would be to either focus on a dot on the wall, let's say, or one particular item, or you can diffuse your vision and diverge it so that you see more in your peripheral vision and sort of look at the whole totality rather than focusing on one particular point. And he calls it gazing. And I think maybe it's probably shamans use that technique and that kind of thing. In the old days, in the movies, they would say going squinty-eyed. You go, you squint your eyes and you gaze rather than,
yesterday we had many sessions, groups of 10 going in, and sometimes they became 10 or 12. And then we were standing, and suddenly I went into the room and I saw a few knowledge seekers hanging on the systems, because a couple of systems are tall, and standing. We put papers on the floor on a circular wood, and we put the system in the center of it, and we put papers around to see what materials we see, what changes we see. And these knowledge seekers, they came and they stood on the papers, on the wood, and were hanging like God. Their life depends on it, on these machines. I had to tell them to get off. This is not a paying system. And they were trying to get energy. And there was another one, seeing them doing it, was another system hanging onto the machine. I think they were waiting to take a lift off, their flight. People do these things. But it was amazing. I wanted to take a picture of it, but they were, literally hanging on the system. And we are not building another, what they call, worshipping or energy system. We're trying to teach you to worship yourself and teach yourself and understand that you are the center of you. You carry that soul, which is the center of existence of you. And if you think of it, look at your heart, the structure of it, your liver, the structure of it. This thing in the center of you is so powerful that designs, brings and controls this every second of your life. If I was you, I worship my soul. Then worship means somebody else's load of rubbish. And don't make the system that this time people actually can hang on it. There's no use to gaze. You need to understand. What do I understand about myself? And then you're successful. You succeed because you understand the truth, who you are, what you are, and how you'll handle the situation in your life. Does not matter on this planet, beyond, or in dream or sleep or awakeness. I know what you're talking about, but we had them hanging on it this week. It was fantastic. I said to my face, what is going on? Why are these people hanging, holding on to the life of this machine? If you leave it long enough, it'll become another mech and they start, revolving around it. Any other question?
A couple of other questions here. Malcolm says, Mr. Keshe, I see the blue layer and sometimes other colors, also a shimmering field extending high above people and the light in inanimate objects. can people or animals that are past step back into this realm?
In which way? But you have to understand, I explained something very interesting. Maybe for the first time I'll put this in public, but it's good for knowledge seekers to understand, and in the future scientists to understand. We know as much as you're asleep and you happen to go and visit in your dreams, said I had a dream about the mom last night. Oh no, she died 20 years ago, but it was so good. I saw her and, you know, whatever. And what happens when it's daytime and you suddenly feel like, okay, the mother came, or your feeling goes towards the mother who's at home, or the soul of the mother at home comes to you, come home, there's food ready for you, and say, oh, I felt hungry and I go. How many of us have you seen the change in the aura or the shimmer or whatever of the man daytime? When the soul of the people alive or being on this planet or not with us or not touches our soul. These things doesn't happen when you sleep. It happens 24 hours a day. Every day. You only remember the ones you call the dream because you had no time to play with the physicality. You're locked in between the sheets. The same thing as happens in your sleep time happens in your daytime. What aura would that change? Would you see the blue light on top of your head? Is the aura of the dog you had died 10 years ago? Or is it the aura of your dog on the floor trying to say, I'm here? It's not just I love you with my wiggling my tail. I'm here because my soul is touching your soul. There's much more to all these things than man thinks. But we only think we dream at night, and when we dream at night, our soul goes away. Things happen during the day to us, we touches our soul with the others, and us touching the other souls. What auras do they create? Blue, black, yellow? Or only the blue sign you see is actually the soul of the cat on the floor, touching your soul, and that makes of your physicality. Man has to start thinking much deeper to these things than just play on the whole video. Any other question?
Okay, one more question here, and then I have something I'd like to show. From Off Script, who says, good day, Mr. Keshe. When we transmute and we travel with the physicality inside the soul, is that what our ancestors were trying to convey with the explanation of the Merkaba?
I never understood the Merkaba. How can I tell you yes or no?
Okay, fair enough. I have the same problem with that one. You'd have to look it up, and if we have to go to Wikipedia, it's not worth it.
I think Merkaba has changed in Arabic to Marhaba, so Robo, if we can do it, whatever it is. But it's the reality. When you don't know something, you don't know. I never understood this thing.
Mr. Keshe, I wanted to take you back to the past here for a previous drawing that you did, and
oh my God!
This is a 5-minute clip, but I'll play 1 minute of it, and I want you to look at it and see if there's anything new you can add to this concept.
No. No, no.
Okay. Give me one chance. Okay, I'll just play 1 minute here.
To it becomes very different. When the box opens up, have a look at something very strange. When you see the box, when I open it, you see what we call parachutes. And each one in this box, when it's fit in, it's just like this. You looked at the energy conversion. What I used and what's the purpose of this system in reality is the universal field flows. So if I induce different fields, for example in this one, and this one, and this one, I create a condition of the 3 layer of the skin of the man. And the fields coming from it is what I play with, not fields which is inside it.
Okay, I'll end that clip there. It's you go on to explain more about that, but I thought that might jog your memory, and perhaps it came up in our Keshe Plasma Reactor group yesterday, and Brett in particular was bringing up this topic of the cola bottle reactor experiments that you were doing and the explanations of that. And this is the empty box of the universe, I believe you called it. And perhaps you can explain a little more, or maybe you could annotate on this picture.
No, actually, this is very much the process of picking up energies at different levels as the universe in the plasma. When you do these tests, you mainly see DC, which confirms what we call the plasma state, not the EC, which is a matter state confirmation. And in a way, you pick up energy levels because don't forget this is a box. All the parachutes are the same. The only difference is where they are positioned and what fields, other fields they interact with. Some of the pins have a plus energy, some of them have minus energy in certain levels, in same of 2 levels. In one side of the box there is a minus, the other one is plus, and they change. And this, when we put on the oscilloscope, there is no sometime AC at all, or base AC on it. And this is how the energy of the universe is. How taller people have different intelligence than the shorter people. How certain heights have the certain behavior in respect to their features and life. It's very interesting. If you look at this, when I call it universe box of universe, why do all the certain height people of the certain color of the skin and certain color of hair have a specific behavior? It's exactly like this, what you see in the box. The boxes are measured from distance from the bottom. That's why they're positioned. And you see, if you put 2 systems in the same line, you get the same behavior. And some of these were deliberately done that way, to micromillimeter. We check that we are in, and we get the same result. So it's a field lines, and when we put this box out, or shown for the first time in Eindhoven, if I remember correctly, was to show the energy in respect to the bottom of the box. Reference was the bottom of the box. In the universal condition, the electrodes are measured space gap between the distance from the center of the box, or what they call it, the bottom flat box. And if you understand these, you solve a lot of problems to answer these questions, how fields are created and how they generate, and how you can make AC out of these parachutes. But nobody has tried it, and I keep quiet.
Okay, thank you. That gives us a bit to go on there.
You should have gone much further than that.
Yeah, that's what Brett's trying to convince the rest of our crew in the plasma group, that we missed the point, and it's time to go back and refresh.
Press the refresh button.
Press the restart.
Restart. Yeah.
Well, it's a good day for that, being the first day of spring and first day of the new year.
Yes, I hope so. It's a fantastic time. It's what we've been through in past 4 or 5 days, and the changes and what has come up and what is being delivered is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's a new year and a new cycle. Let's see what it brings. As they say, the clock is ticking from today for 3 years. 3 years' time, if the governments don't deliver what they're given to deliver world peace, we'll force a world peace by teaching and making everything irrelevant. Any other question?
Well, a few more have popped up, but not sure if you want to carry on here or want to call it quits. I know you're quite exhausted from all the action this week.
You know, I was telling a knowledge seeker in 2014, 13, 14, actually 14, I think 14, 15. I thought in Italy, a 12-week session, 5 days a week, 9 to 5, non-stop. And every day, teaching is all recorded. But this time, 4 days teaching from 9 to 5 or 6, the energy is not there. It's exhausting. And I don't know if we can do this in 10 years' time or 20 years' time. Holding 3 days, 4 days conferences and standing and being there for all that time, more or less, is it's not easy, because we all teach, that we all sitting there shared. It becomes hard, and as we say, age is catching up. You know what they say, what I used to do whole night, it takes me whole night to do. Reading. It's not difficult. Any other question?
Well, I'm not sure we should push you at this point, but maybe it is actually appropriate with Steve's question in YouTube here, who asks, Mr. Keshe, you would explain transmutation as a birthing process. Is there a pain, more of a physical or emotional process? And is this something we need to be concerned about?
What?
I guess he's worried about the pain or emotional process of the transmutation process. Is it like childbirth? You know, childbirth is wonderful, except for the pain.
It's a separate pain, but I have watched it happening, and it's very interesting. When the knowledge seekers panic. Before I forget, and the trial, or what we call the monthly program, will not be tomorrow, but will be next week, next Friday, as we all are traveling, and a lot of people are going back and forth, and they're still on the way. If you could feel the pain of transmutation, you love to have that. It's addictable. You want to have it. You want not to miss it. And once you achieve it, the pain is not going through it. The pain is sort of living it, because it's a different dimension of what.
I think we should probably wrap things up here. There's a couple of more questions if you really want to cover them.
Then we go. Yeah, just one more
Okay.
question.
ABC Plasmi asks, at this 378th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, you talked about copying people using shadows. Can you say more about this?
No.
Okay. Perhaps you can...
I know exactly what he's talking about. Nope.
Okay. Perhaps we can squeeze in another question by TBN Dibin. What's wrong not being able to see the soulmate in the realm of the universe? How many tests this person should pass? I don't know if that makes sense to me.
This sounds like somebody who's very much in love with something.
Could be. I'm not clear completely on the question there. But...
Okay, shall I call it a day?
Yes.
We come back next week, and we'll see how we change things. But we'll keep you posted, and the session will be next Friday. And I thank all those who made this conference possible. Some 10, 15, 20 volunteers, Chinese community were there to make sure everything goes smoothly. Especially the head of the Keshe Foundation work in China. I think he needs 2 months holidays for what he did in the 4 days and everything he did before it. And all those who traveled across this planet to be here to learn, to experience. We promise to show you, create a room of plasma, and you all be testing it. Promise you, when we meet you in Isfahan, you will see the flight of the man without propulsion. Thank you very much, Rick. See you next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you once again for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop here, number 530, continuous weekly workshops. Today's was Thursday, March 21st, 2024. So we look forward to seeing you next week as well with another Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Our next public teaching workshop is the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, which starts at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, March 26. And that's with members of the Universal Council, and everyone's invited to to listen in and participate in that workshop. Okay, I think that's all for now. And thank you everybody for attending today. And we look forward to seeing you in the next public teaching workshop. And we'll end now with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit, music version. And bye for now.